The Judgement of Paris. King Priam and Queen Hecuba ruled the city of Troy. While she was pregnant, Hecuba dreamed that her baby would cause the destruction of the royal family and of Troy. So when the baby boy was born, Priam gave his son to a shepherd and told the shepherd to abandon the baby on a mountain. The shepherd did as he was told. When he returned to the mountain a few days later, he found the baby was still alive, so he kept it and raised it as his own. He called the boy Paris. Paris grew up, got married, and lived as a shepherd, just like his adoptive father. He was strong and handsome. He did not know he was the king's son. He lived happily until the day he became involved in an argument among three goddesses. The argument began because Eris, the goddess of discord, was not invited to a wedding feast. She had been purposely excluded because of her history of causing disagreements, and she wanted revenge. Eris wrote, "For the fairest" on a golden apple and threw it onto the table at the wedding feast. Every goddess at the feast claimed the apple as her own. Eventually, the competition was narrowed down to three: Hera, the queen of the gods; Athena, the goddess of wisdom; and Aphrodite, the goddess of love. The king of the gods, Zeus, was called to choose the fairest from among these three. Zeus knew that no matter which goddess he chose, the others would be angry. So he asked young Paris to make the choice. The three goddesses tried to bribe Paris. Hera promised him great wealth and power. Athena promised wisdom and success in battle. Then Aphrodite whispered to him, "Choose me, and I will give you the most beautiful woman in the world as your wife." Paris, forgetting he already had a wife, chose Aphrodite. From that point on, Aphrodite helped Paris. When Paris competed in athletic games in Troy, he took first place in every contest, thanks to the strength and speed that Aphrodite gave him. When people in Troy noticed how much Paris resembled their king and queen, the old shepherd was brought before Priam and Hecuba. He told them how he had saved and raised their baby. The king and queen, forgetting why the baby had been sent away in the first place, welcomed Paris back into their family. Prince Paris was eager now for Aphrodite to keep her promise. The most beautiful woman in the world lived in Greece. Her name was Helen, and she was married to King Menelaus of Sparta. Paris sailed to Sparta, where King Menelaus greeted him as a friend. When Menelaus left on a hunting trip, he invited Paris to stay in Sparta. Paris did, and Aphrodite made sure Helen fell in love with the Trojan prince. Paris convinced Helen to return with him to Troy. They brought much of Menelaus's gold and treasures with them, and they were welcomed with open arms by King Priam and Queen Hecuba. Others, such as Paris's brother Hector, were not so welcoming. Hector begged that Helen return to Sparta, but she stayed in Troy. Many years before Helen and Menelaus had married, Helen's father had made the Greek kings promise that if anything happened to Helen, they would all work together to save her. After Paris carried Helen off, Agamemnon, the brother of Menelaus, called on the kings to keep their promise. The Greek kings assembled their armies and set off for Troy. The Trojan War had begun.